Hello everyone, long time no see. Firstly, it's been a while and I just thought that I've read a few books this year, so why not do a video? But before that, I just want to explain some things. The equipment that I had and I was using last year has sadly, like the laptop memory's full, so I can't really use my laptop. I'm not in a position to be able to afford any more equipment, so I'm basically just filming on my iPhone. So things are going to be reversed because obviously I've got it so I can see myself. But yeah, I've had some health issues at the start of this year, which I'm going to do a separate video about, I think, because I want to bring some awareness to one of the conditions that I have. I have 2 heart conditions and now I've been diagnosed with a third, which has caused me some problem this year, along with a couple of other things. I had a lung infection and I've got issues with my liver that I'm not entirely sure what they are. So we've been off to a bit of a rough start. We've had a few deaths in January as well, which have affected the family. So my daughter, my youngest daughter, has also been ill. So it's not been a great time, to be honest, the start of 2025. So we're just hoping that things will get better. I've got more tests to have. I've got CT scan to have. I've got ultrasound scan to have on my liver. But yeah, it's not been great. And I was taken to hospital on the 23rd of January, and there's something called troponin, which is part of where I want to expand it to in a video. There's something called troponin levels, which are the elevations in your blood if you have something like a heart attack. And on the 23rd of January, I had a severe AF attack, AFib, which is arterial fibrillation, which is a missed pattern in your heartbeat. I had a severe attack of that, and my troponin levels were raised to the levels of a heart attack. So it was quite a frightening time, it's quite a scary time, especially in the midst of the attack. I didn't know if I was coming out of it or not. So yeah, that's the way January started. So the whole family's concerned about me now. They're all on watch and on guard. But yeah, that's one of the reasons why also I haven't done any videos. It's taken me this long to kind of feel adequate enough to do a video. Still don't feel 100%, but you know, hopefully eventually we'll get there and I'll get some answers and I'll find out exactly what and why is causing my body to be reacting the way that it is. So that's 2 minutes of rambling, nearly 3 of my health, but I just thought I ought to make that clear to you guys because I do actually want to do an awareness of that. Some people have AFib and they don't know it. A good percentage of the population can actually have AFib and not know they've got it, and it can be quite a dangerous thing to have. So yeah, that's just a little bit about that. So anyway, on to what have I read in 2025. So I've wrote just a little bit of a list of the books I've read. I may have read more than this. I've got to be honest, at the moment my memory's not great, which is part of the fibromyalgia. It sort of gives you brain fog, so you don't really remember a great deal. But yeah, so I just thought I'd go through a few that I do know I've read because I've put them on Goodreads, and that's how I'm able to look back and go, yeah, I did read that. But yeah, let's start with the first one that I read and enjoyed, which was, and these books are going to be backwards because I'm filming on my phone, but My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix. This one I actually really enjoyed. I found Grady Hendrix to be a little bit of a hit and miss author for me, purely because of his style. I think when you read Grady Hendrix, you have to get to grips with his style of prose. He's kind of a guy who writes horror, but he writes it in not just a humorous way, but also eventually he does write it in a way that touches you. I find his sensing is a little bit like Ricky Gervais, where it seems as if it's quite dark, but then there's a lighter side to it and a very touching side. And with My Best Friend's Exorcism and the characters in it, which was Abby and Gretchen, like I said, it was a while ago now. Abby and Gretchen, they have such a good bond as friends and have done for quite some time, that when Gretchen starts to show signs of potentially needing an exorcism, it just shows you the bonding friendship. And that was a beautiful thing for me in this story, was the bond between those two girls and how it transpired and how it ends. And the whole exorcism thing was very extreme, and how that played out, and it was surprisingly good. Compared to other books of his that I've read, this one was surprisingly good. So I did actually really enjoy this, My Best Friend's Exorcism. I actually really enjoyed it. Then I went on to a book by Adam S. Leslie, which was Lost in the Garden. Excuse the sticker, sorry. Lost in the Garden. Again, another really obscure book. But one, even though it was so obscure, it absolutely had me hooked. I had to finish it. It took me, I think, about 2 days to read it, and it was, let's see, it was like 450 pages roughly. But I had to finish it. But it's such an odd tale. You can't quite make out whether this is real places or not, and the idea behind it is that there is this place where people just don't go. You just don't go to Almanby. It's called Almanby. You just don't go there. The kids are all warned as children, you don't go to Almanby. It's not a safe place, you just don't go there. And in this book, these 3 girls called Heather, Rachel and Antonia decide that they are going to go to Almanby. But there's a whole story within that. There's a story behind Rachel as to why Rachel wants to go there. And then it turns out that Heather wants to go there because she's going to chase after her boyfriend Steve, because he's gone there for his own reasons. But he said he'd be back within a couple of weeks and he hasn't come back yet. And she's panicking, so she decides she wants to go with Rachel, who is one of her best friends. And then they need a driver. And that's how they rope in Antonia, because she's then their driver. And there's a whole adventure that ensues. It's twist and turn. There's things that happen in there that are so obscure, you just kind of mind blown as to, really, is this actually happening? But I think it's written in such a way by Adam that you can't help but want to continue this journey with the girls, even though it's so obscure and so strange. It's just such a good journey, that the things these girls face and the antagonists that they have to face, because as protagonists, they are, if I've got those words the right way around, I probably haven't. Heather turns out to be somewhat of a hero, kind of, and so does Antonia. But there's a twist to that as well at the end. They're not just necessarily heroic. They are and they're not. It's just one that you'd have to read, basically. But it may throw you off in certain parts. You may start reading it and think, do you know what, I'm not going to carry on with that. It's so weird. I just don't know really what's going on here. I would say carry on, because there is a reason at the end of it, and it makes sense. And then suddenly you kind of go, oh, okay, I get that now. It's kind of Mother Nature, and you have to help her in order for everybody else to be able to survive. It's such a weird, wonderful, kind of crazy story that, yeah, I did actually really enjoy it. But even though at times I thought, where is this going? What is this story doing? I don't get it. But it does eventually make sense. So, Lost in the Garden, I quite enjoyed that. Then last year, obviously this book came out and everybody was reading it. Everybody was reading it in hardback. I don't read hardbacks. I don't find them comfortable to read. So I saw this in Waterstones. Seen everybody on BookTube had read it, so I thought, okay, what's the hype? I need to know. I'm nosy. I need to know now what the hype was. And that's The Silver Blood Promise by James Logan. So I recently, literally days ago, finished this. And this is an excellent story. Excellent. You've got Lucan Gardova, who basically finds out that his dad has died. He's not had a relationship with his father for some time because of something that happened in the past with Lucan at school. He basically got into a duel and he ended up murdering the guy in the duel. And his father basically paid out for that to save any embarrassments or any further, complications from that. But from that, Lucan felt like his dad didn't support him and didn't have his back. So they've been estranged from each other for quite some time. But then when he does actually come home, he finds that his father has actually been murdered. So the initial premise for the story is for Lucan to, in a way, avenge his father's death. But how it transcribes is that Lucan finds himself in this wormhole of a different affair, where he has to save a woman who's in prison because she's not guilty, and she also knew his father. And then he just ends up wrapped up in this whole turn of events that he didn't see coming, but are stunningly written. The environments are gorgeous. I just think that this is such a superb book. I always compare, and I don't mean to, but a lot of the time, books make me flash back to Malazan, because for the books that I've read of Malazan, they are beautifully written and amazing, and such work goes into those stories that you just can't believe that Steven Erikson has been capable of just writing those on his own, because they're so complex and the prose and the language is so out there that it's hard to believe that one man has come up with that. But sometimes I spot elements in fantasy stories that obviously reflect on Malazan. There's bound to be similarities because they're fantasy. But I found this one, for its political intrigue and the way that the story goes with Lucan, I found this one to be so easy to read, so beautifully written, and so enticing that the characters drew me in. It was amazing, such as Lady Midnight is a character in this who's awesome. Flea, I loved Flea in this. She's another character. She's a little sort of 11-year-old girl who's come from the poorer areas and has to steal to be able to eat, but she ends up coming sort of Lucan's sidekick and saves his life a couple of times. And it's just a really, really beautiful story to read, but with lots of adventure and lots of threats and lots of combative elements where Lucan has to get his way out of situations, and, you know, obviously being the hero, after a certain amount of struggle he does, but it's just so good. And I actually can't wait for Blackfire Blade to come out, which is presumably the follow-on, because at the end there's this chest that Lucan wants to get his hands on. That's the reason why he's doing all this. The lady in the prison has hold of the chest, so Lucan can't get hold of it unless he gets the woman out of prison. So eventually at the end he does have the chest. He manages obviously to succeed, but the adventure is in how does he succeed. And once he opens the chest and what he finds, which I'm not going to give that away, it then obviously is going to lead on to Blackfire Blade, which will continue the story of Lucan, and hopefully Flea and I think it's Athra, Lady Midnight, will go with him on this adventure. So I'm really looking forward to that. And so yeah, I really did enjoy The Silverblood Promise. And I liked how he came up with the title name and included it in the book as this is why the book is called that. I love it when an author does that. I like it when they give you the reasoning behind why the book is called what it's called. And then I've gone back to a book that's like 20 plus years old. This was first published in 2004. This is, I know it's backwards, this is Trudi Canavan's Magician's Guild. Very reminiscent of Harry Potter. So if you're a Harry Potter fan, I'd strongly advise reading this. Has elements of Silverblood Promise and Malazan and things like that, obviously, because it's fantasy. But what I love about this is Trudi Canavan's writing is, again, so beautiful, so easy to follow. We've not got any of those kind of complicated prose like we have in Malazan, where, yes, it's readable, but is it understandable? You know, if you don't know the language too well, is that going to make it a barrier in which to follow the story? There isn't that with this. It's very, very easy to follow. Yes, some of the names that she uses for the characters are a little complex. Plenty of vowels, you know, where you have to work out how you're going to say that. But I mean, you know, stepping away from that, just as a story in itself, it is so entertaining, and there's such excitement in some of the scenes. And the main character is called Sonia, and she's basically a girl from the slums of Imaldin, and she sort of finds out by accident that she's actually got magic. And the way it works in Imaldin and Corellia is that children are usually from the houses, from privilege, and they're sent to the Magician's Guild, and they're tested if they've got magic. And if they have, the magicians in the guild teach them how to control it and how to use it. So they're basically in a school or a university, and they go through lessons and learn how to use the magic and how to control it. So the guild, after finding out that Sonia has magic, want to take her in. But Sonia, because of what she's experienced with magicians in Corellia, just basically believes that they want to kill her because the circumstances as to how it comes about, as she finds out she's got magic and they find out she's got magic, a boy was killed in front of her. So obviously she's feared. And one of her very good friends is called Seri, and he's a thief. And through her, she makes acquaintances with the thieves, who basically kind of live underground, run parts of the city. The magicians are very high in this place. The magicians are considered like the worthy ones, the ones that people bow down to and respect greatly. They basically run the city, protect it, look after it. But most of the people don't appreciate the magicians because every now and again there's I think it's yearly, there's this thing called the Purge, which you can obviously imagine what that involves. And from what they've seen and what they see on this day, Sonia doesn't trust any of them. So she's running basically for them to not catch her. She's running away from them. Eventually she gets taken into the guild and the story goes from there. And this spans across 3 books. So I'm currently on the 3rd. So I've read the Magician's Guild. I've also read the Novice, which is book 2 of the Black Magician's trilogy, and I'm currently on book 3, which is the High Lord. Literally just started that, but consistently throughout it, we've given the same characters. We're following the same person, which is Sonia, through her, you know, her lifespan of going to the guild, finding out she's got magic, learning how to control it. Potentially, will she or will she not make friends? Will she be accepted in the guild? Because obviously it's a place of position and power, and usually people from the houses, the children from the houses are taken into the guild, not children from the slums or children from the streets. That just doesn't happen. But she's the first to be taken in. So it's following her progress, it's following her story, the things that happen around her. But we also have other stories going on in the background to do with the High Lord and to do with Rothan and his son Dorian and his friend Daniel. So we've got all these little intricacies weaving off this one main story to bring the story together, and it is amazing. I am so engrossed in this trilogy that I have now gone on Amazon and looked up Trudy Canavan and seen that she has 3 other collections of books. One of them's called The Age of 5, the other one's called Millenniums, and I can't remember the last one because I literally just found it. But I've put all those in my basket because I want to own them all and I want to read them. This is just my personal opinion. I'm absolutely in love with this lady, Trudy Canavan. I think her writing is superb. Her prose is amazing. She brings you into this world of magic and wonder, and it does give me huge Harry Potter feels. I was very curious to find out, was this written before or after Harry Potter? Because it gives such the same feels of, you know, the Harry Potter type child who comes from nothing and is not valued to make it to a stature of, could they be the chosen one? It's that kind of feel, but in a darker context, because the stuff that's going on behind the scenes of the main story with Sonia is quite dark. So that's an element of it that I enjoy, is the darkness and the more adult nature of these books. So, I mean, if you've never heard of Trudy Canavan, if you've never seen her, if you've never read her works, going off this alone, I would say absolutely give them a try, because I've been impressed and I've flown through these now. I've not stopped. I've kept going and kept going because, like I say, it's such an enthralling story. It's such a journey to go on with Sonia that I want to get to the end and find out how Sonia does. Where does the journey end? What does she become? You know, is she the chosen one or is she not? Is her purpose, are her purposes to help the guild or not? What is going to be the outcome? Excuse me, I'm a little bit coldy as well. So, yeah, those are the books that I've read up to so far. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. I've read like five books. Books that I've got on the pipeline that I'm also currently looking to read, or I have started reading, is Slewfoot, which is coming off the back of last year when I was absolutely blown away with the Once and Future Witches by Alex E. Harrow. I was blown away with that story, and then I went down this path of wanting to read everything Witcher, and I found an awful lot of Witchy books. So I may or may not in the future do a video about the Witchy books that I've read, and just do a video purely on them. But yeah, so I've got Slewfoot, which I presume a lot of people are aware of. I've also started Starling House by Alex E. Harrow, another Alex E. Harrow book. And I've also started John Gwyn's Of Blood and Bone series. I've got all 3 books of that. They're ready to go, so I've also started that. So I've got a couple of books on the go. I just swap and change as and when I'm in the mood, depending on what I'm in the mood for. That's what I'll go to. But currently I'm really enjoying my Trudi Canavan. So yeah, that's my 2025, the starts of books. I just thought I'd do a quick video, pop on here, let everybody know that right now I'm still alive. January 23rd, I didn't know if that was going to be the case or not, but yeah, for now I'm still here, I'm still plodding on, and that's where I'm up to with my reading. So yeah, I hope you got, and I presume you've noticed the hair change, no longer that blonde bombshell. Yeah, the blonde was too much to keep up with, so I decided to go to a redhead. But yeah, besides that, I apologise if the quality of this video is poor. There's not a great deal I can do about it. If you want to see my ugly mug, the only way I can do it is on my iPhone, balanced on a shelf in my kitchen, and that's true life. That's how it is. But yeah, those are the books I've read. That's where I'm up to so far, and I just thought I'd let you all know that I'm still around and I'm still reading. So enjoy yourselves, have a great day, pick up a book, enjoy it, lose yourself in the fantasy that is the book, and I will see you again soon, hopefully, with a video maybe about my health, maybe about the witch books, we'll see. Just see what the future holds. So take care of yourselves, have a great day, see you again soon.